Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartTrading.com. It is 7 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, September 27th. So looking back at yesterday's session, right, the Russell and the Dow both just kind of stayed uh, right around the level of in between, like shorts and longs. The yellow lines, they just staying down. And then for the ES and Nasdaq, right? It was just a you know an opening range uh, flop, but it didn't really go anywhere. It went basically to unchanged, the top of value, and if someone asked late, or I saw the message late actually, and responded to it, but. One of the things that you can tell whether there's true sellers because when you get a pattern like this, when you open this far above value, and then you fall down below these single prints that were left the previous day, and you can't get to value area low or basically really any progress under the previous day's point of control, uh, that's problematic for the bears. And all it was, in my opinion, we had news come out yesterday. The market was already up. Institutions are like, son of a bitch. I wanted fills down here. I didn't get my fills down here. So they just drove it right back down there, took their fills, and then they'll probably jam it up over the next couple of days. We will have to see. But this is still going to be your bogey line uh, for what it is. So when you see this, that's all that's going on is they just, you know, jammed it right back down to where it was the previous day and left it at that. So as we look at what that does to structure, right, for the ES and the NASDAQ, we have clear lines in the sand with the XSNA and the single prints for the NASDAQ, and we'll get into that. The value areas are very small. We are overbought in the ES, the NASDAQ, and the Dow. It doesn't mean we can't continue to run higher, but it means that once you start getting, any type of true retracement, it's probably going to be a pretty good flush. Uh, and that's just, especially on the first day, whenever that reversal will happen sometime in the future. So this morning, our inflation read come out. It was, within the margin of error. The print was a little bit lighter than expected, but it's still, when you're talking about tenths, right? Uh, you know, you might as well just be throwing a dart at the dartboard. It's whatever. And then we're gonna not really have anything else today. We got University of Michigan revised at 10. We got Bowman having a conversation at 1:15. Who really cares? I don't think she's going to be the one that upsets the apple cart. Um, Looking at positioning, there's really nothing on here. You can see that for next week we got some gamma building at 500, and that's probably the quarterly is on Monday, and that's what that is. Uh, so, that would be the top end of the range, and that would be basically 400 points higher than the NQ is currently trading. So that would be, nothing to sneeze at in that point in time. But you can see between where we're at now at 490 basically and 500, there's not too much above 496 next week even. And then as we look at today, you've got, so you got your pivot at 490, and I would say 488, which is about 80 points down, should be your first tier support, and then you could actually, potentially slide all the way down to 480. Would be, where the true floor would be, and you have to imagine 45 would be a stop on the bus there as well. And then you can see that for, next week you got basically you can look at it in 200 points at a time. If you just go out to Mondays, which is a large expiration, we're sitting at 490. You got a bunch of gamma at 500, and you got a bunch of gamma at 480. Each of these are around 400 points plus or minus from where we are right now. Um, I'm not going to get into the SPY. Looking at the cash, remember we got the JPM uh, hedge that is at 57.50. So that's really your bogey line for today. And it could just be a pin potentially. So keep in mind if you start getting above it by a bit and you start falling back down, you're probably gonna go back to it again and maybe to the other side of it. And the same thing if you go down below it and you start coming up, you're probably gonna go back to it again. You might not cross it, but you're probably going to get pretty damn close. So that is your bogey mark right now. And if we look at where we're at, right, we have 57 or 58.30 print yesterday. We had 2 points of control from yesterday. We had the bell at 57.92 half. We had the 415 point of control at 58.02 half. We're currently trading 12, so not too far from those levels. And the title of my video is look or fail. It should have said I should have said go or fail. To be honest with you, we're on a look, so the title should have been go or fail. But above 20,250 is basically a go, uh, and then we'll see if we can test the top of yesterday's range for both of these indexes. I mean, you're only talking about another 17 points for the ES, and basically another 180 or so for the Nasdaq. So as we look at where we're at, 26 and a quarter points in the overnight session. Uh, this shelf here at 58.22 is really what you want to see if that ends up being resistance or not. Uh, and then we'll just have to watch. So that's going to be your first markers. And I'm going to probably sit on my hands for probably most of the initial bounce. I want to see if we can start crossing over this or if we get rejection here and back under these single prints. And it's potentially there's been many Fridays lately that don't do anything or go anywhere, and I don't want to keep looking for something that's not happening. I want to see the VIX doing something now that we've had the last news for the week, and I want to see if if we're making any traction above that cash. Remember, it's the SPX, so put that on your ticker. SPX is 5750 for that, not the ES that we're watching. So I hope this helps. I will be with you next week while Jack is enjoying his trip, and we can get into my form of technical analysis. You guys can ask any questions you want, and we'll go from there. It should be a fun week. I haven't looked at the news flow, but I'm sure we'll have our opportunities. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.